All right, week 4 of EMPHORY Bible study. Our week 4 practice is. Oh wait, I didn't start there. Where did I start? What else was I going to say? I don't know. Okay, I guess that's where I'm starting. Okay. Everything is the opposite. Oh, I know what I was saying. I was saying that I sent you guys the practices and the principles. Take a look at those. I did it. Bridget, I thought I did it. Nicole's saying yes. Thomas saying yes. Okay.
It's in the thread, the Facebook group thread. I will pin them.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Um, Take a gander at those principles, you guys, because the more you embody those principles and recognize you are all of this and all of this, and anything you resist of all of this and all of this is your suffering. Then the practicing of how it plays out as a integrated human spirit being thing gets easier. Okay. So, um, so week 4, everything is opposite. And I love that there's a couple of different contextual things with this one in particular. But let's start with Matthew 20:16. Um, and this is one of those that like is so obvious. One of Jesus's teachings was, hey, if you want to be first, you have to be last. And if you think you need to be first, you're probably going to be last. Because everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. And everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. And everything's the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. And guys, today, guess what? We're gonna fuck some shit up because I am going to unearth some stuff today. We were at a retreat last weekend, Bridget and I. It wasn't a real retreat. It was just a bunch of us that went up to do like focused business work. But it was pretty spectacular because, of course, when you get brilliant minds together, everybody's pouring into everybody. But one of the things that one of the gals said was, Lori, I feel like you just toiled all of my beliefs, right? Unearthed it, disrupted the normal pattern. And one of the tools that we use is this energetic unfucking of everything is the opposite of what it appears to be and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. Because what that's playing into is this, here's my human side, here's my spirit side. They both have laws, and the laws are actually the exact opposite of the other side's law. Infinite, finite, complete, incomplete, time and space, no time and space. Um, what are something and nothing, addition and multiplication, right? Everything is the opposite of the other side. Yet, without the one side, you can't have the other side, which is why everything is opposite. So, throughout today, I'm just going to keep stopping and going, and everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. And everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. And everything's the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. Because what that is unearthing is your patterns thinking that something on one side or the other side is actually true. Because the only truth is that you're loved. That's the only truth. Everything else is what's outside of us, which is why we don't store up our treasures there. We store up our treasures in the one thing that's true is that I'm loved, right? And so as we unpack this, everything is opposite. It's going to unearth your beliefs on purpose because if I believe something to be true, but it has an opposite, now I'm going to suffer if the opposite presents itself because I'm going to have to reject it if this is true. So everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be, and everything's the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be, and everything's the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. Okay, so Matthew 6, 9, and 10. Um, I think I'm not sure. Somebody else can look this up again. I don't really care because details are silly. Um, I don't know if 9 and 10 are the whole Lord's Prayer, but we're gonna look at the one part where it says, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Yet, you guys, we think that heaven and earth are opposites. But let's go back to last week or the week before or whenever, when what was the very first? Oh, yeah, it was last week. In the beginning, God created heaven and earth, but they're opposite because one is the unseen and one is the seen. Yet, I can't see without the unseen, and I don't know that there's any unseen without the seen. So the oppositeness of it makes them viable, which is why everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be, and everything's the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be, and everything's the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. So if you've ever studied the Kabbalion or hermeneutics or hold please, I have to turn this off or it will keep ringing on my computer. Um, but it talks about the law of correspondence, as above, so below. As above, so below. Which, if we look at the physical reality of things and the symbology of things, right? It's exactly what Shelley was talking about earlier. Oh, well, here's Jesus and here's Mary Magdalene, masculine, feminine, but they both possess Christ consciousness, but they're represented in the physical. Um, Masculine, feminine, opposites, yet not really, because without a masculine, we don't even know what a feminine is. And without a feminine, we don't even know what the masculine is, which is why they're opposite, but not really from the perspective of the one needs the other to exist. Do you see the absolute like mind fuckery in like what we have to unearth and toil up in desiring integration, which is right smack dab in the middle of the paradox? All of your peace and joy and serenity and rest is found in the center of the paradox. So, one, this is what breeds grace because we're born into Adam, which is duality, but we're born again into a new way of being, which is the center of the paradox. But we have to unlearn and relearn and toil up and unearth and then recognize all the things along the journey to this place of rest, which is I'm loved. Let everything else outside of me take care of itself because if I remember I'm loved, nothing out here can hurt me. I become subject to nothing outside of me when I stand on the rock of Christ, being I'm loved. But we have to go through the opposite, recognizing the opposite of everything in order to get there. So, lots and lots of grace for you, who you are being today, who you were yesterday, all the things that you thought were true yesterday that you don't believe are true today. So there's that fight of, oh, I was wrong. No, you needed that to get to here. Lots of grace. Okay, guys, I have this really cool story. So when I was a kid, I loved the book of Ecclesiastes. And I had all the like there's a time for everything under heaven. I had a big old poster of it in my room. I never knew why I loved Ecclesiastes so much, but I always loved Ecclesiastes. Guess what Ecclesiastes teaches? Everything outside of you is just a vapor, and the only thing that really matters is that you're loved, and everything in the world is permissible, but at any given time, it may not be beneficial, but we allow it all. Cool. So, Ecclesiastes 3 1 through 8. I didn't write this one down, so hold please. Can you please give me a, what do I want to say? Um, What is the verses in Ecclesiastes 3 1 through 8? Let's see if it just lists it so I can read it.
Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verses 1 to 8. There's a time for everything.
I don't want to hear from you. I want to read it. Okay, ready? There's a time for everything and a season for every activity under heaven. What's under heaven? Earth. Heaven and earth, guys, they're opposite. What's everything under heaven? Earth. So there is a time for some things. Is there a time for some things under heaven, guys? No, the motherfucking book says everything. Everything. So everything is permissible. Everything is permissible. There's a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born and a time to die. Those are opposite. A time to plant and a time to uproot. Those are opposite. A time to kill and a time to heal. Those are opposite. A time to tear down and a time to build up. Those are opposite. A time to weep and a time to laugh. Those are opposite. A time to mourn and a time to what? Dance. Those are opposite. A time to scatter stone and a time to gather them. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to search and a time to give up. A time to keep and a time to throw away. A time to for tears. Oh, to tear and a time to mend. A time for silence and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. You mean the Bible says it's okay to hate? Yes. Yes, it does. Sometimes there's some shitty things that happen and we're allowed to hate them because that's a season. It's a season, and seasons are cyclical. So, yeah, hate it up. When we get to know each other a little better, uh, my friend Thelma might grace you with some of her amazing wisdom and beauty. When she was in our container, she brought this shadow work and talked about it in such a beautiful way. Guess what? The shadows are allowed too. All of you is allowed. There is a time for all of you. Oh, I missed the last one. A time for war and a time for peace. A time for everything under heaven. There's a time for everything. Everything has an opposite, and everything is allowed because without the opposite, I can't have the thing. Without me being fully human, I can't have a spirit side. And without my spirit side, there's no value in my human side. Both are allowed, both are acceptable. One is not better than the other because there's a time for everything and there is a season for every activity, which means there will be a time where I need to hate some shit. There's going to be a time where I plant. There's going to be a time where we're unearthing. Yes? Because everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. And everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. And everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. Let's look at John 12:24. I love this one because again, there's context within this practice, whereas some of the other ones, it's like kind of here it is. But with this one, because it's opposite, there's so much duality in the context of even the explanation of this. But John 12:24, verily, verily, I say unto you, except a corn of wheat fall into the ground and die, it abides alone. But if it dies, it bears much fruit. In order to bear fruit, you must die. Okay, so now let's look at, okay, well, Lori, that doesn't make any sense. Like, how can that be true? Well, because as above, so below. In order for the opposite to be true, the opposite needs to be true. Okay, so now if we remember we're 100% human and 100% spirit, last week's practice, now I can understand, well, what part of me is dying? Well, now we go to our principles. If the spirit side of me is infinite and eternal, right? Well, that part of me can't die. Well, then what part of me is dying? Oh, something in my human dies in order for there to make manifest more of the spirit part of me that bears much fruit. Right? Look at pruning. All through the Bible, there's weird analogies of the garden. What? You mean where we started? Yeah, and we look at God being the vine dresser. And he prunes the things that are dead. Why? So that the energy can go to the parts that are still alive. And then he says, okay, well, here's a good vine, but it's not a great vine, so let's cut that off too. Why? So that more energy can go to this really super healthy vine and create more fruit. So this one that's already dead has to go. This one that might be good sometimes has to go. Somebody told me the other day, and it was so good. If it's not good, or it can be good and not God. So even if it's good, if it's not God, get rid of it. So good. So good. Okay, and then in Revelation, again, we talked about this in practice 1 and 2, right? What is God? I am the Alpha and the Omega. Those are opposite. The beginning and the end. Oh, weird. Those are opposite. The first and the last. Oh, weird. Those are opposite. So God says, oh, I'm all things. Everything that's opposite. Everything that is. Everything that is. I am. And you're made in that image, which means no matter what you are, what you've done, who you think you are, any mistakes, they're all allowed and they all had value. Because if we go back to Ecclesiastes 3, we remember, oh, wait a minute. You mean those times where I thought I messed something up was actually maybe something getting destroyed so that it could be recreated or toiled up? You mean I put in all that time and energy and I didn't produce anything from it? Well, where are you storing your treasures? In your character as somebody who planted and then let God create the harvest? Or were you focused on the result and now you think because the result wasn't what you thought that your sowing was actually in vain? Well, what the enemy meant to destroy us, God meant for good. And we know that God makes all things good to those that love him. I think I just combined two verses, but y'all know what I mean. It's all in the book, so I can use it and mismatch it all. I just want this to settle inside of you, you guys, because this is how grace works. When we recognize the human was supposed to come and make mistakes and do things and try things that didn't work and do things that maybe the world might have said were wrong and bad. But if it happened, it was filtered through the hands of a good dad. I want you to let that rest on your heart for a minute. Anything that has happened in your life, that is currently happening, or will ever happen in your life, will have been or will be filtered through the hands of a really, really good dad. And now everything is perspective. Well, if God allowed it, then can I trust it has value? Can I refrain from my own way of thinking in order to? We talked about this in our coaching group this morning with Catherine. What repent really means. It means to turn away from. It means to change your mind. It means to revert your focus. You can focus on, no, I'm right and this is bad. Or you can go, this was filtered through the hands of a dad that loves me. So I'm going to find the value in it. And now you get to choose where you want to spend your time and energy and efforts on asserting that you're right, that that's bad, or on opening yourself up and surrendering to, I don't understand that, and currently I fucking hate it, and I'm allowed to because the Bible says I'm allowed to hate that right now. But I'm going to revert my focus and say, but I'm loved, and this was filtered through the hands of a good dad. And now I'm going to let God renew my mind by taking this thought captive and bringing it into obedience, which is hearkened awareness of, okay, God, show me how this is good. Show me how this is valuable to me. Show me why you allowed this in my life. If you really love me, show me why. Show me how this is good. Do you hear the difference in the verbiage? Not, I thought you loved me and you let this happen. I, I'm asserting that you love me. And so now I'm asking for your help in seeing how this is valuable in my life. That's a whole different way of being, guys. And this is surrender. And this is Romans 12:1. I beseech ye, therefore, brethren, to make yourself a living sacrifice. God, I can look wherever I want to look, but I'm going to sacrifice my understanding that this is bad. And I am going to surrender. And I'm going to ask you. I'm going to assert, I know you love me. And I'm going to ask you, how is this valuable? Why did you let this in my life? It's a new way of being, guys. That's being born again. To turn away from the way we were programmed to believe, who we were programmed to believe God is, who we were programmed that we are, to turn away from that and say, okay, Papa, you let this happen in my life. Why? Because I don't fucking understand it. I'm hating it right now. I want to kill it or them, whatever. Sometimes it's a or them. Tell lots of stories about envisioning taking a fork and sticking it in the side of the socket of my ex-husband. No, I mean, like at the time it was still, right? But, and then plucking out his eyeball. Thought about that more than once, guys. Because that's where my human was. My integrated self didn't want to do it. But my human, oh, oh, I licked the blood off that fork because I was mad, I was angry because I was programmed that if he didn't act the way I wanted him to act, it was because he didn't love me. And I sure didn't want that. The new me desires, okay, God, show me how this is valuable in my life. I will assert that I'm loved. And now I'll trust that this has value. That's the opposite of the way I used to function. Because everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. Everything's the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. Everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. It's what I always wanted, but I didn't know how to get it. So I did the exact opposite of what would get me the thing I wanted. Because everything's the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. And now am I willing to renew my mind ultimately about the identity of somebody who's not loved into the identity of somebody that is loved? Okay, I'm going to stop the recording and then we'll do some questions. Questions!